They learned long ago that the battlefield is not just swords and blood, it's nerves and silence. Machiavelli saw it in the eyes of princes who ruled empires, men who could sit motionless while enemies raged. He discovered that the one who masters calm owns the storm, because calm is not softness, it is control sharpened to steel. The world is chaos, men are volatile, but the ruler who steadies his mind bends every outcome. You must understand, people mistake calmness for weakness. They are wrong. Calm is a mask that hides the dagger. While others panic, you calculate. While they lose themselves, you see their openings. To stay calm is not to feel nothing. It is to feel everything and bend it to your command. This is Machiavelli's way. Not the path of peace, but the path of control. You will learn how to silence panic, freeze anger, weaponize patience. You will become untouchable, a fortress mind that no insult, no fear, no pressure can break. This is not self-help. This is power training. Watch closely, because from here on, you are being reshaped into the man who never cracks, no matter the fire. The first law, the temperature of power. Before you master others, you must master the furnace inside your own chest. Power begins with physiology, with the ability to cool your blood when the room burns hot. Machiavelli knew that princes who could not command their pulse would never command their armies. When your breathing is ragged, when your eyes flicker with fear or rage, you have already surrendered the field. Calm is not mystical, it is mechanical. You take control of your lungs, and your heart obeys. You steady your gaze, and your enemies doubt their advantage. You lower the temperature of your body, and suddenly you stand taller, colder, unshakable. This is not meditation for monks. This is weaponization of biology. Think of yourself as steel dropped into fire. Most men warp, bend, break. You, however, cool deliberately, harden with each controlled breath, become the blade. You must practice it in silence. When insulted, inhale through the chaos, exhale through the anger, and watch as the urge to lash out dies in your palm like a tamed animal. Others will expect you to crack, to shout, to fumble. Deny them that pleasure. Their weakness is revealed by the tremor in their voice, the sweat on their forehead. Your strength is revealed by the stillness in yours. Never forget that rulers lose kingdoms not because of armies, but because of panic. You will not panic. You will keep your blood cold even when knives are at your throat. That is the first law of staying calm in any situation, the law of temperature. Your mind follows your body, so you must command it like a general commands soldiers, precise, disciplined, merciless. Practice this until calmness is your default weapon. And right now, to anchor this truth, I want you to comment the phrase, "My blood is ice, my will is iron." Write it, stamp it into the world. Because from this moment, you begin the transformation into the one who rules himself first, and by that, rules everything else. The second law, emotion is ammunition, not a pilot. You are not ordered to kill your emotions, you are ordered to enslave them. Machiavelli understood that princes who pretended to feel nothing became predictable statues, but those who harnessed emotion as raw fuel became storms disguised in silence. The mistake weak men make is letting their anger fly the plane, letting fear grip the wheel, letting shame dictate the path. You will not. Emotions are not pilots, they are ammunition. You load them, you aim them, you fire them on your command. When insulted, you do not explode. You store the rage like gunpowder, waiting for the right spark. When you feel fear, you do not freeze. You sharpen it into awareness, a radar that picks up every hidden detail your rivals miss. Even jealousy, that most corrosive poison, can be purified into ambition, a hunger that propels you while others drown in bitterness. This is cold power psychology. You never deny emotion. You dissect it, label it, assign it a role. You are the general, they are your soldiers. They do not lead you, you lead them. When you master this, people will call you unfeeling, but they will be wrong. You will feel more than they ever could, but you will never be owned by those feelings. Instead, you will deploy them with precision, using anger as intimidation, using calm as misdirection, using even false kindness as a leash. To remain calm is not to stay numb. It is to turn every inner flame into artillery at the perfect moment. Most men throw their emotions like drunkards throwing coins, careless and loud. You will stockpile yours like a treasury, unleashing them only when the strike is decisive. Understand this: to stay calm is not to be empty, it is to be armed. Now write in the comments the phrase, "I am the master of my fire." Because from this second on, every emotion you feel becomes a weapon, and every weapon belongs to you, not to chance, not to circumstance, not to anyone who dares test your throne. The third law: perception is a fortress. You must understand, men do not see reality, they see appearances, and the ruler who controls appearances controls outcomes. Machiavelli taught that it is not necessary to be virtuous, only to appear so; not necessary to be merciful, only to seem it when it serves. Calmness, therefore, is not just inner discipline, it is a mask you wear, a fortress wall you build around yourself. When you project unshakable composure, people begin to write myths about your strength. They assume you know more than you do, that you hold cards they cannot see, that you are inevitable. This perception bends events before a single move is made. If you panic, your rivals sense blood and press harder. If you appear calm, even while bleeding, they hesitate, they second guess, they falter. You must learn to stage manage your own image like a theater. Every glance, every pause, every silence crafted to send signals of dominance. Never let them glimpse the storm inside you. If you must rage, do it in the privacy of your mind, then step out cold and still. A fortress does not reveal its cracks, and when people believe you are untouchable, they hesitate to test you, which means you win battles without drawing swords. Calmness projected outward becomes armor that turns attacks into whispers. Remember this: the world does not reward truth, it rewards perception. So build yours deliberately, stone by stone, until your calmness is legendary, until your enemies whisper that nothing shakes you. From this moment, practice projecting calm, not only in your mind, but in your posture, your tone, your silences, because once you master perception, you master power itself. And right now, anchor it by commenting, "My calm is my fortress." Say it, write it, brand it into your identity, because every man who commands perception commands the game long before the fight begins. The fourth law: tactical detachment. To stay calm in chaos, you must master detachment, the art of stepping back when every instinct tells you to lunge forward. Machiavelli knew that the most dangerous man is the one who refuses to be rushed because time bends for him. Detachment is not withdrawal, it is calculated distance, a pause that converts desperation into strategy. When others are consumed by impulse, you remain the observer, measuring, calculating, waiting. This is how generals win wars and kings secure crowns. Not by rushing into the fire, but by making the fire come to them. You must learn to delay gratification, to watch opportunities ripen like fruit, to strike only when the skin is thin and the blow is final. Detachment gives you the power to deny enemies the reaction they crave. They insult you, expecting rage, you give silence. They bait you with urgency, you respond with stillness. They pressure you to choose. You wait until their impatience exposes weakness. This is dominance, to dictate the tempo, to force others to burn their energy while you conserve yours. Detachment does not mean you don't care. It means you refuse to let anyone see what you care about until it is too late. To stay calm in any situation is to place yourself above the battlefield, surveying it with cold eyes, knowing every soldier's move before it begins. From this high ground, nothing rattles you, because nothing surprises you. You are not in the fight, you are directing it. And the man who directs always defeats the man who reacts. Train yourself to pause before responding, to detach from outcomes, to act only when your strike is unavoidable and irreversible. That is tactical detachment, and it will make you untouchable. Now comment below, "I choose the battlefield," I choose the time. Seal those words, because from today you no longer rush, you rule. The fifth law. Calculated concessions. Power is not preserved by clinging to every scrap. It is preserved by knowing what to give away and when to give it. Machiavelli observed that rulers who fought for every inch eventually bled themselves dry, while those who surrendered small things strategically secured dominion over greater ones. You must learn this ruthless arithmetic. Sometimes you win by losing. A calculated concession disarms your opponent, lulls him into false security, convinces him he has tasted victory while you quietly secure the throne. Think of chess. The master sacrifices pawns not out of weakness, but to open the board for the queen. So it is in life. Give up a trivial point in an argument to win the silence of the room. Surrender a minor resource today to tighten your grip tomorrow. Allow someone the illusion of advantage while you advance unseen. The weak man resists every loss and ends exhausted, exposed, stripped of dignity. The strong man understands that power is not about winning every battle, but winning the war. Calmness allows you to release what others cling to in desperation. Your enemy invests emotion into the scrap. You remain icy, trading it away for a higher position. He calls you foolish until he realizes too late that his triumph was your trap. This strategy requires control because the ego hates to yield even a sliver. But you must silence that ego. Remind yourself that every concession is a weapon if you wield it with precision. And remember, never concede what wounds your foundation. Only sacrifice the dispensable to protect the vital. The true Machiavellian knows that the battlefield is littered with men who could not tell the difference. From today, when you feel the urge to fight for every coin, every insult, every petty slight, stop. Ask yourself, can I use this as bait? Can I turn this surrender into a snare? If the answer is yes, let it go and watch as the world walks directly into your design. Now write it below to prove you understand. I sacrifice to dominate. Say it, brand it, live it, because the man who learns to lose strategically is the one who never loses in the end. The sixth law, the black silence. Silence is the most underestimated weapon of power. Yet Machiavelli understood it as both shield and blade. Words are cheap, endless and exhausting, but silence is rare, and rare things terrify men because they cannot control them. When you refuse to speak, you refuse to give your opponent anything to grasp. No reaction, no confirmation, no weakness. Silence forces others to reveal themselves. They begin to fill the void, pouring out information, exposing motives, betraying insecurities, all because they cannot bear the weight of your calm. Understand this. Silence is not absence. It is presence amplified. When you withhold words, you magnify your aura. You create mystery, and mystery is power because men fear what they cannot read. In moments of conflict, silence turns into pressure. An enemy who expects a counterattack but receives only your stillness begins to question himself, to replay his own words, to unravel under the echo of his own noise. This is psychological warfare at its purest. Most men fear silence because it forces them inward. They cannot stand alone with their thoughts. You, however, must train to embrace it, to wield it like a dagger hidden in plain sight. When others insult you, meet them with nothing but a cold gaze. When rivals bait you, let them stew in their own desperation. When allies seek to manipulate you with urgency, slow the tempo with silence until they reveal what they truly want. This is the black silence, not the silence of peace, but the silence of domination. It is black because it consumes, it suffocates. It reminds others that you do not dance to their rhythm. Used correctly, it makes you untouchable because nothing destabilizes a manipulator more than the target who does not respond. But beware, silence is not cowardice. It is not retreat. It is a conscious strike, deployed deliberately, maintained until the other side breaks under its weight. That requires discipline because the urge to fill the void will claw at you like a wild animal. Resist it. Sit in the silence until they crumble. And when you do speak, your words will carry 10 times the force because silence has carved out a throne for them. The man who speaks constantly is ignored. The man who rarely speaks is remembered. From now on, you must train yourself to weaponize pauses, to answer less, to speak later, to make silence your hammer. People will learn to fear the moments you do not answer, because silence will speak louder than any outburst. That is how you turn calmness into a battlefield advantage. Now, prove you understand this power. Write in the comments. My silence is my weapon. Declare it, because once you master silence, you will command not only conversations, but entire rooms, entire negotiations, entire destinies. The black silence is the throne upon which you will sit, untouchable, inscrutable, and feared. The seventh law, X-raying motives. If you want to stay calm in any situation, you must see through men as if their flesh were glass, stripping away the masks they hide behind and exposing the trembling gears that drive them. Machiavelli understood that the foundation of control is not strength alone, but knowledge. Knowledge of what men fear, what they desire, what they cannot resist. Every word they speak, every gesture, every hesitation is a clue. And your job is to gather those clues with ruthless precision until their soul is mapped in your mind. This is X-raying motives. You do not listen only to what is said. You dissect what is unsaid, the pauses, the nervous laughter, the flicker of eyes toward the thing they value most. You must remember that men are rarely motivated by what they claim. They speak of loyalty but crave security. They speak of honor but crave recognition. They speak of morality but crave pleasure. They speak of friendship but crave advantage. Strip away the surface and you will see the true motor. And when you see it, calmness becomes inevitable because you are no longer reacting, you are orchestrating. A man who panics in negotiation is blind to the motive across the table, but you will sit still, scanning, decoding, translating weakness into leverage. The coward reveals himself in his eagerness to be liked. The greedy man reveals himself by the way his voice quickens when profit is mentioned. The vain man reveals himself in the tilt of his head when praised. Once you see these patterns, you cannot unsee them. And once you cannot unsee them, men become predictable. Predictable men are controllable. When you know what a man guards most, you hold his leash. If he guards his reputation, you threaten shame. If he guards his wealth, you endanger his coin. If he guards his pride, you offer flattery to soften him before the strike. This is why Machiavelli said it is better to be feared than loved, because fear reveals the deepest motive of all, survival. Fear makes men betray themselves quicker than any other force. You must train your eyes to penetrate facades. Watch how people act under stress, because stress strips masks faster than time. Watch how they act when victorious, because victory reveals arrogance, and arrogance reveals blindness. Watch how they act when ignored, because desperation to be noticed is the most honest motive of all. When you know motives, you stay calm, because you no longer fear the unexpected. You already know the script of their soul. You are the only one in the room, not improvising. You are directing the play. This level of insight will make you appear almost supernatural, as if you read minds. In truth, you simply pay attention where others are distracted. When someone insults you, you do not flare, you dissect. Is it envy speaking? Insecurity? A desperate attempt at validation? Once you identify the motive, their attack becomes laughable, and you remain unshaken. Calm is easy when you know the source of noise, but here is the darker edge. When you know motives, you can craft temptations. You can bait men into cages of their own desire. You can offer them exactly what they crave, only to make them dependent, predictable, and pliable. This is cold power psychology, not just surviving chaos, but designing it, pulling the strings while others think they act freely. And understand this truth: most men will sell themselves for the right motive pressed at the right angle. Your calm will come from knowing that everyone has a price, and you have the ledger. Now, to prove you understand, write in the comments, I see through masks, I rule the motives. Declare it, Because the day you master X-raying motives is the day you stop being a piece on the board and become the one moving them. With this vision, no situation can shake you, because every man in front of you is already exposed, already mapped, already yours. The eighth law, pressure immunity drills. Calmness under fire is not a gift. It is forged in deliberate exposure to chaos. And Machiavelli would tell you plainly, if you cannot endure pressure, you do not deserve power. You must train for pressure the way soldiers train for battle, with drills that sharpen your mind into a fortress that cannot be breached. Imagine the weak man, untested, who believes he will remain calm when the storm comes. He is crushed the moment the first wave hits. You will not be that man. You will seek out storms before they arrive. This is the essence of pressure immunity. Building composure by rehearsing disaster until disaster no longer frightens you. You must deliberately put yourself in situations that stretch your nerves, not to break you, but to steel you. Force yourself into environments where humiliation lurks, where deadlines choke, where scrutiny weighs heavy, and instead of collapsing, you observe yourself, you slow your breath, you command your mind to remain still. It will be hard at first. Your heart will rebel, your ego will panic, your instincts will scream, but each time you endure, each time you resist the urge to flinch, you carve a new groove into your psyche, a groove of dominance. Eventually, chaos ceases to feel like chaos. It becomes routine, and routine is always manageable. Think of gladiators. They did not wait for the arena to train calm. They bathed in fear daily until their hearts hardened. You must become your own gladiator. Rehearse failure until it bores you. Rehearse insults until they sound like background noise. Rehearse rejection until it becomes fuel rather than wound. Pressure then transforms from enemy to ally, because while others drown in it, you breathe it like oxygen. This is why Machiavelli taught that men who are untested should never be trusted with power. Untested men panic. Panic leads to mistakes. Mistakes cost crowns. You, however, will be tested, because you will test yourself before the world does. Create your own drills. Speak where others fear speaking. Stand where others fear standing. Take on tasks where the eyes of many watch for your collapse. And when you do not collapse, you expand. Calmness becomes automatic because your mind has learned the truth. Pressure is only perception. Once you are immune to it, no insult, no deadline, no threat can touch you. The crowd may scream, enemies may plot, allies may doubt, but you will stand cold, controlled, calculating. Others will wonder how you stay calm when the air thickens with chaos, but you will know it is because you rehearsed the moment 100 times before. This is the Machiavellian advantage, preparation so ruthless that nothing rattles you. And there is a darker benefit. You can create pressure for others, watch them crack, and remain still yourself, knowing you hold the higher ground. To prove your commitment to forging this immunity, write it in the comments. Chaos is my training ground. Stamp it, because from this moment forward, you are no longer afraid of pressure. You are hunting it, mastering it, turning it into your arena. That is how calmness becomes your reflex, and that reflex makes you unbreakable. The ninth law, cruelty and kindness, properly aimed. Machiavelli knew that calmness is not passive. It is the deliberate control of both cruelty and kindness, applied with surgical precision to shape the battlefield of human hearts and minds. To stay calm in any situation is to never be ruled by pity, never be ruled by rage, but to treat both mercy and brutality as tools in your arsenal. The weak man swings blindly between extremes. He is cruel when provoked, soft when pressured, erratic and predictable in both directions. You will not be that man. You will learn to hold cruelty in one hand and kindness in the other, deciding which to unleash, not based on emotion, but on calculation. This is the cold psychology of rulers. Cruelty can stabilize a kingdom when delivered swiftly and decisively, while kindness can bind loyalty when dispensed strategically. But misused, both destroy you. Too much cruelty and men conspire in shadows to remove you. Too much kindness and men trample you, seeing softness where there should be steel. The Machiavellian mind balances them like weights on a scale, adjusting moment by moment. Imagine an enemy who defies you publicly. Your instinct may be to crush him brutally, but that might breed martyrs. Instead, you may offer him mercy in a way that humiliates him, showing the crowd that you are in such command that you do not even need to punish to dominate. Or picture an ally who has betrayed you once. Here, kindness would be poison, for it would invite more treachery. Better to act with cold cruelty, decisive and final, not from rage but from reason, teaching others that betrayal costs blood. This balance requires that you remain calm, because only in calmness can you choose deliberately rather than react impulsively. You must understand that both cruelty and kindness are illusions in the hands of the Machiavellian. What matters is not whether you appear merciful or ruthless, but whether your choice strengthens your throne. You must cultivate the skill of reading when men respond better to the iron fist and when they respond better to the velvet glove. Some will bend when praised, others only when punished. The man who cannot shift between the two is limited, chained to predictability. But you will be fluid, unreadable, feared, and respected in equal measure. The beauty of calmness here is that your emotions do not dictate which mask you wear. You dictate it. You may feel rage, but you will wear kindness if it serves you better. You may feel compassion, but you will wield cruelty if the throne demands it. This is what separates rulers from ruled, the ability to act contrary to your feelings, guided only by strategy. And when you master this, people will call you heartless, but they will secretly admire you because they sense the terrifying freedom of a man who is no slave to his emotions. Machiavelli advised that it is safer to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. But you, by wielding cruelty and kindness properly, can bend men into fearing and loving you at once, which is the rarest and strongest power of all. Think of calmness here as the throne between two extremes, rage on one side, weakness on the other. You will sit unmoved, choosing with icy precision whether to extend the hand or the blade. That is why your calm cannot be faked. It must be real, because false calm cracks under pressure, while true calm directs cruelty and kindness like a conductor leading an orchestra. Practice this until it is instinct. When you feel provoked, you ask not, "What do I feel?" but "What serves my position?" And when you feel generous, you ask not, "Do I like this man?" but "Does this kindness strengthen my rule?" This discipline will separate you from men who mistake impulse for strength. You will be untouchable because no one can predict whether your silence will bring mercy or punishment. That uncertainty alone will keep them in line, because men fear what they cannot forecast. And here is where calmness becomes absolute power. The crowd sees you smile, and they tremble because they do not know whether the smile is mercy or death. Now anchor this lesson. Comment below. I rule with the hand and the blade. Write it, because once you grasp this balance, you are no longer merely surviving. You are shaping the entire theater of power with cold, deliberate precision. The 10th law, the inner throne. The greatest throne you will ever sit on is not made of marble, not surrounded by guards, not gilded in gold. It is the throne inside your own mind. And if you cannot rule there, you cannot rule anywhere. Machiavelli understood that the prince who cannot command himself is already the servant of others, because every man who loses his calm, who surrenders his composure, who bends under pressure, has already been conquered before a single sword is drawn. The calm mind is the true kingdom, and to master it is to become untouchable. You must build this throne within yourself brick by brick until nothing shakes it, until no insult, no betrayal, no disaster can push you from it. The world is chaos, men are fickle, fortune is cruel, but the throne inside your mind is permanent if you fortify it daily. This is not about optimism, not about naive faith. It is about designing rituals, codes, and disciplines that harden your inner kingdom like iron. Begin each day by sharpening your awareness, not with soft affirmations, but with brutal truths. Men will betray you if it benefits them. Friends will vanish when storms come. Allies will plot if it secures their gain. Accept this without bitterness, and you strip chaos of its surprise. Expect betrayal, and betrayal cannot shatter you. Expect envy, and envy cannot weaken you. Expect hardship, and hardship becomes nothing more than weather to endure. This is how you sit firmly on your inner throne. You anticipate reality in all its cruelty, so that when it strikes, you are already calm, already armored. But beyond anticipation, you must cultivate a code. Machiavelli taught that rulers must appear virtuous while acting with calculation. So too must you live by a personal code that keeps you steady when others falter. Decide the principles that cannot be shaken: discipline, self-command, loyalty to your vision, and build rituals around them. Train your body daily, because physical weakness leaks into the mind. Control your breath daily, because breath is the lever of calm. Write your strategies daily, because written clarity sharpens mental dominion. These rituals are not habits, they are weapons, sharpened so that when the world presses against you, you do not scramble. You fall back on your training, your throne, and when you sit on this throne, you gain the highest freedom, the ability to choose. Men without calm are slaves to their impulses. They lash out when provoked, crumble when frightened, beg when desperate. You will not. You will choose silence when silence dominates, cruelty when cruelty protects, kindness when kindness disarms, patience when patience starves the enemy. That is sovereignty, the power to decide, not to be decided by circumstances. And once you achieve this sovereignty, you radiate something others cannot define but instinctively obey. They will say you are different, that your presence carries weight, that your calm unsettles them. But what they are really sensing is the throne within you, the immovable force of a man who rules himself. This is what makes you untouchable, not wealth, not armies, not titles, but the unshakable rule of your mind. From this position, even when fortune turns against you, you remain steady. Even when allies betray, you remain steady. Even when enemies surround, you remain steady. Calm becomes not just a tactic, not just a mask, but your very nature. And here lies the final Machiavellian secret. The calm ruler outlives the storm because storms spend their fury quickly. But calmness is eternal. Men rage, men panic, men scatter. You remain seated, calculating, inevitable. That inevitability is what makes others bend before you. They cannot imagine your collapse, so they yield. And you must reinforce this throne daily, because the world will test it daily. Do not let yourself grow soft, because softness is decay. Do not let yourself grow complacent, because complacency invites invasion. Your throne must be maintained with vigilance, as a fortress is maintained with watchtowers and guards. Sharpen your calm every day as if tomorrow you will be tested, because one day you will, and only the prepared survive. Remember, calmness is not peace, it is readiness. Peace is fragile, calm is unbreakable. Peace depends on the world, calm depends only on you. That is why calm is power in its purest form. Now listen carefully, because this is where your transformation must be sealed. If you have walked with me through every part of this path, you are no longer the same man who began. You are harder, colder, sharper. You understand how to control body, emotion, perception, silence, motives, pressure, cruelty, and kindness. And now you understand the final truth. All of it is worthless if you do not sit firmly on your inner throne, ruling yourself above all. From this moment forward, when life attacks you, you will not flinch. When betrayal stabs you, you will not collapse. When fortune deserts you, you will not curse. You will remain calm, because calmness is your throne, and no one can drag you from it. And I want you to prove this transformation now. Write in the comments, "I sit on the inner throne, unshakable." This is your oath, your declaration, your signature in stone. And before you leave, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because this path is not finished. This is only the beginning. The throne you build today must be defended tomorrow, and I will be here to sharpen your weapons again. Sit tall, sit cold, sit calm. The throne is yours, and from it, the world bends.